and welcome back to Rory's Workshop. Today we're going to be changing out the radiator in our Discovery 2. This is our tow car, our main tow car, and just our general odds and sods car. I love it. I think it's a fantastic little car, and it does everything that we need, and in some form of reliable comfort. Naturally, things don't last forever. And unfortunately, the radiator on this, we have started to use water. Thankfully, it's not the head gasket. It's the bottom end of the radiator has started to rust out. So just down there, you probably can't see, but underneath you can see in the corner where it's just starting to peak out. And we've been living with it for a little while, but now obviously it's going to get warmer and it's time. We've got a couple of days so we can take it to bits. And I had to look online, and there wasn't a very good YouTube video on how to do it. Mainly all of them that are online are all V8s. And obviously in the UK we've got the TD5 lump. So I thought, well, bugger it, I'll try and throw one together, and at least it'll give you some form of insight if you're going to do it yourself. So let's get stuck in. First of all, I'm obviously going to remove the top cover here. I've read online that you may need to remove the front grille for better access, for taking the condenser off the radiator and the cooler, excuse me, and the lines for the cooling. But I think they're only for the automatics, but I'm not 100% sure. This is obviously complicated because we've got the bull bar on the front, but I think I can take off this top mount, and then it should be able to sort of slide it up, hopefully. But I'm not 100% sure. I've not done this before, so both of us are learning at the same sort of time. But yeah, I'll try and make this as informative as I can. Any snags I come across, I'll sure to let you know. Let's make a start, shall we? Oh, so now you see me remove the top cover, which is obviously 4 Phillips screws. They came out really easily. 2 big screws for the shroud. Some people say that you can do this without removing the fan, but actually I think it's easier for you guys to see, and it gives you better access to the clips down below. So now you can clearly see where we've had mice. Down in this bottom corner here is where you can see it's been weeping, and it's doing a bit in this corner as well. So this radiator has had it, unfortunately. To get the fan off, it's a 36mm spanner, and if you tap it towards the driver's side, it will eventually unscrew. Obviously I give it a little bit of assistance with some WD-40. So yeah, so now we're just going to carry on having a look around. And be aware, if your radiator has never been changed, that these stainless steel clips, if you haven't got the tool to put them back on, you'll need to do what I'm going to have to do and fit a really small Jubilee clip. Be careful when I'm doing this, because this is a very touchy and a very soft area. If anything's going to break on this today, it's probably going to be this port here. So you need to be aware of when taking this one out, although not so much, but it's good practice. And certainly when you put the new radiator back in. So yeah, we'll carry on with the time lapse, and we'll get there. Anything interesting or untoward, I'll sure to let you know. Back in a moment. So it's a new day, and I'm carrying on with what where I left off the other day. What I've done is, in the time lapse, you've seen me, I've removed an awful lot of the front end, but that is mainly to let you guys see what's going on. You may not have to go so in depth as what I've done, and having this A-bar is a bit of a hindrance really, and that's why I've had to go so far, because I can't quite get access in and around it. But what I've done is, obviously we've removed the grille. To remove the grille, you've got to remove the headlights, and there's a screw on here. It's the same on both sides, and that sort of holds the grille centered. And again, it's the same on this side. So you can sort of manhandle the grille out And then to get to the brackets that hold... Oh, let's put some light on this story. To get to this bracket down here, this bracket here actually, you need to get into... so you need to remove the flap. So remove these screws up here, just so you can get in the back. And then, so you can see these 2 screws just up here. Take them out. I've taken the horns out because to get access for one of the mounts, I needed to take the horn out. Horns out either side, and then again on this side, I'm taking this bracket off. That sits down there. To split, I'm going to pull the radiator and the intercooler out together, just because it's a little bit easier. But I have had to undo the screws that hold the air conditioning condenser to the intercooler, because this won't come out with the with this sort of small pack. So next, I'm going to go underneath, and we're going to drain out all the fluid from the coolant system. Thankfully, Land Rover's put a really handy bolt just there, and that's the lowest point in the coolant system. So I'm going to drop that and obviously catch it in this nice big basin, and then see how clean it is. Hopefully it'll be clean enough we can reuse it. If not, I'll filter it, or worst comes to worst, I'll have to dispose of it in accordance with what my local, well, what you're meant to do with it, really. And then it'll be a matter of undoing these clips down here, this clip here, this one up here, and then these 2 will come out as a pack, and then we'll split them, and then we'll start looking at transposing things across from the old radiator onto the new one, and then it's exactly the same but in reverse. So I'll catch up with you in a moment once I've drained all of this out. So that's the coolant system all drained, and naturally something went wrong and the whole bung came out. So now I'm going to have to pull out that pipe, and I have 2 options. I need to either get a new one or get this one repaired. As the car's needed tomorrow, I'm going to try and get it repaired, or at least get hold of another one fairly quickly. Not really too worried just yet. It's annoying, it's added an extra stress, but I've got all the other parts that I need. So now I'll remove that pipe and we'll go from there. So now I've got the pipe out, we get to have a look at what's hidden down here. It doesn't look too bad really, so fairly alright with that. In the end I had to jack the car right up on the front cross member, so then I could drop it out underneath, and I ended up taking it sort of down where the downpipe is, just over there, and hooking it around the back. So now I left some of the pipes on because it was easier for me to take them off outside, so I'm going to take off all the rubber pipes. See if I can find a new one. I'll ring our Land Rover dealer. Generally they're very good. See if they've got one in stock. If they haven't, no problem. I'll down in the nearest town there's a radiator place. They might be able to braze that back on, because this was brazed originally. You can see the brazing just here, and hopefully they might be able to sort of, well, I'll try and loosen it off, and then they can braze it back on for me. So yeah, so bit of a probably stressful next couple of hours, but we will get there. My head's probably quite big because I'm not at full arm's length, but yeah, so stick with us. Let's get this stripped. Well, we're back, and it's looking a little bit better than what it was earlier. I've been down to Raysons Radiators down in Yeovil. Massive thanks to the team down there. I rang them up ahead of time just to make sure they're open, and if they could do this in time, because obviously we do need to have the car back on the road. I dropped it down. I did take down the old adapter that was in there, but where I'd pinched it in the vise to take it all apart, unfortunately I'd squashed it too much, and he said it's not worth sort of trying to repair it. So he said he managed to find me some bungs that would fit, and he sort of put this back together for me and repaired it. He's pressure tested it to about 15 psi and left it for about half an hour. which was great. So I know it's good. I'm not even going to break it. There's no need for me to take this off. What I'm going to do now is rebuild it, put the pipes back on how they need to be, and then obviously we'll throw it back in. Massive shout out to the guys at the Raysons Radiators. Thanks very much for that. You've saved me a lot of stress and heartache. And whilst I was waiting, I popped down to one of our local motor factories and I bought one of these fancy bleeding kits. I've wanted one of these for a while. I wish I bought one when I was in America last year. Because funnily enough, this has come from Napa, which is one of the big guys out there. I've wanted one of these for a while, and I'm pleased I've finally got one. And this seems to be the perfect way to do it, because obviously there's a big heating system on this, and there's all sorts of things. So having a good head of water isn't a bad thing. If you haven't got one, don't worry about it. It's not a massive thing, but I do quite a lot of work on various vehicles, so having it, I think, will be a good thing. So, bugger it, let's stop talking and let's get on with it. Let's start the rebuild. So here we have the old radiator. You see it's a little bit dusty and obviously a bit crappy. And what I've done is I've just laid it the same orientation as the new one, and I've transposed everything across that needs to be transposed across. So the rubber sealer goes across the bottom. The new radiator was missing one of its feet, so I've transposed that across. And now I'm going to throw it into the car, and obviously we're going to have a look at putting, get the radiator in. So we need to look and have a look, because I noticed this earlier on. We don't need that anymore. And there's that metal clip that fell off the earlier on. So the pipe's back in. It's bolted in by two 8mm bolts, in case you need to take that off as well. These spring clips are naturally in an orientation that aren't really easy for you to get hold of them and for you to get onto them. I would highly recommend, if you work on quite a few cars, getting the proper tool for it. I don't have the proper tool. It's one of those things I keep meaning to buy but don't. And it's bit me in the backside today, because these hurt when they let go. But anyway, it's back on now, and I'm going to put on these two bottom hoses for the fuel cooler, and then obviously the one for the thermostat at the bottom, and then we'll start rebuilding it all back over. Obviously I need to put the intercooler back in. I've taken off the intercooler off this side, so it's easy for me to get in, but I'll put on these pipes here at the bottom, and because I can get it at a decent angle, slip in the intercooler onto its brackets, mount up the intercooler, finish it all off, and job will hopefully be a fish. But who knows? When you're working on cars like this, especially Land Rovers, it seems, anything is possible. But we'll keep going. I'm enjoying it. I'm pleased that everything's still sort of coming apart and really easily and not breaking, apart from the obvious. But yeah, we're getting there. Back in a minute. So the radiator and intercooler are now in. They're fully connected up. I'm going to carry on. I shouldn't do it, I know, but I'm going to hedge my bets. I'm going to put on all the mounts. So the bracket here that goes onto the intercooler, just about to put that one on, and I'll put the other bracket on, this one here, which attaches it to the bulkhead. And then we'll have a look. I'll put some water coolant in it, of course. We'll get it up to temperature. We'll reconnect everything, but I'll leave all the covers now and the headlights out, because we don't need them. We can put them in afterwards, of course. And then we'll go from there. But for the moment, there's no point in me trying to do a time lapse or anything, because all you're going to see is the back of my head until I start putting like the front end back on, and there's not a lot to see. But I'll get back with you in a minute. Bye for now. Woohoo! So now it's all in. I've added all the brackets. That's to hold everything in. It's now got the minimum that I can have for it to run. Thankfully, I'll quickly show you. So I managed to, this stainless steel pipe, you know, the one that I lost earlier on, I managed to find it. I thought, actually, I'll give it a go at trying to put it back on. And actually, just with a pair of pliers, I managed to grip hold of these and just pull it together, and it snapped shut. Bloody perfect. Yeah, so I've just checked all the intercooler piping's on, all the bright pipes down the bottom are all on, and the clips are in the right positions, and just having a good look around. I've now fitted our no-spill coolant filling thing, which I'm quite looking forward to using. I've had a look in the manual, and in the driver's handbook, page 199, it's showing that the capacity for the coolant system on a diesel car, it's the same on both, is 13 litres or 22.75 pints. We're going to mix it up 50-50, and obviously it needs to be the pink stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. Hook the battery back up. I'm now going to pour in the fluid. I'll put a full 5 litres one in, and then we'll top up from there. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll start a time lapse, and hopefully you'll be okay. Back in a moment. So I've put 10 litres in. I recycled what was in it earlier because that's only a couple of months old. I left some dregs in the bottom because there was a little bit of stuff. Oh. And I'd say that was full. So obviously I did take this off, and I was meant to keep an eye on it, but I was too busy talking to you guys. But yeah, open the vent pipe on the top, let that purge through. So now that's telling me that there's fluid all the way through up to here, because obviously this is one of the highest points. And now we'll have a good look around. I'll use the torch that's mounted to the camera so we can have a look. As at the moment, it doesn't help with obviously me spraying everywhere. All that stuff there. That pipe could be better, but you can hear it burping. Actually, I'm quite impressed by this. I'm going to put some. So I've put 7 litres of mixed already in. And it needs to be 50-50, so I put 3 litres of the neat in, and I've got 3 litres of water which I can add in as well. Quick look at the level. Level's still quite high, there's still some there. Good thing about this is, obviously once it's filled up and it's been burped and what have you, push the plunger down and it seals off whatever's in here. It seals it off so you can take it off and not spill everything everywhere. There is a pipe in here. You can probably just see it there. That runs down so it can breathe. Hence why you sort of heard it gargling, and it won't sort of stop it. So what I'll do now is keep an eye on the level. I'll fire it up. We'll get the heater turned on to maximum. Make sure there's nothing in the engine bay that doesn't need to be there. I'll obviously put the book away and everything. Make sure nothing can get trapped and damaged. We'll get it up to temperature. I'll open the door a bit, obviously so I don't get smoked out, and then we'll go from there. So back in a moment. Alright, so I've topped up the water. The water's now topped right up, and you may hear it gargle. Obviously reconnect the battery, and now we'll turn it over, and hopefully we may hear some gargling and let it settle. Let's have a look, shall we? Obviously it won't get up to full temperature, but it'll give us a damn good idea of what's happening. I've turned the fan on, so the fan's on to maximum. I'll show you that. So the fan's on to maximum to try and pull as much and get it bled as much as we can. That's what the top is like. You see it burping away. So I'll let this get fairly warm. I'll leave it running for about 10 minutes, maybe give or take. And now put the cap on and let it get right up to temperature, full pressure and temperature, and we'll check for leaks. But yeah, I'll do that without you guys, but I'll catch you in a moment. Stay safe. So now I've managed to top everything off. I'm now going to leave the engine running, but I'm going to rebuild the front end. I'm confident in everything that we've done. So again, with the engine running, it's nice and dry in here, there's nothing weeping out. But now I want to do a full cycle with the cap on so it gets fully pressurised. But I can do that with the whole front end on. If anything goes wrong, I'll have to take it off, but again, it's a risk I'm going to take. So yeah, let's start the time lapse. So you saw us rebuild the front end, or at least put the headlights in and the grille and what have you. So now I'm going to quickly check over everything that's happened, because now we're at full operating temperature. The thermostat open and that radiator is rather warm. So I'll show you what I'm going to see as well. So as I'm looking at all the pipes that we've disconnected and all the stuff that we've messed about with today, that radiator is warm right the way through. Obviously no leaks. We'll check underneath. I've opened up the header tank just to leave all the pressure, but yeah, there's nothing there. No weeps at all. And the coolant, that coolant down there is from me earlier. So now I'm very happy with that. Please see how it's turned out. Turn the light off because it's in my face. Hey! Now I'm going to carry on rebuilding. Thankfully that gamble took off. And yeah, I'll carry on going with that. And then at the end, I'll give a brief what I think of the job and things to look out for. Back in a moment. So that's the Discovery all back together and fully fit to fight another day. Things to watch out for when doing this are certainly that top steam port on the radiator just about here. That is very fragile, and certainly in all the forums that I've read, that is the hardest or one of the easiest things to break. I was quite surprised at how in depth I had to go when removing the grill, and then when I started taking the horns out, I was starting to get a bit worried. But actually, no, you do. You need to take the horns out to pull the soundproofing out, to get to 2 bolts for the access to remove the whole pack, really, for the radiator and the intercooler. You don't need to remove the headlights. Oh, yes, well, you will, actually. You will have to remove the headlights because you need to get to the screw that holds the grill in. I took quite a lot off because, obviously, I was trying to show you guys what you need to do and what you don't need to do to try and get around as easy as you can. You don't have to remove the fan, but it's also a good time for you to check the viscous coupling on the fan, and ours is perfectly fine. I know that there are some people out there that run the TD5s without a fan fitted, because the cooling on these, it depends on who you speak to, is either really good and they're overcooled, or they can have overheating problems, but that's more head gasket issues than the cooling side of things. Mac McKenny, who did the London to Cape Town record in a Discovery 2, he doesn't run a fan on his Discovery 2. He keeps it in the back. He said there's no need to have it, and it's just another thing that could break. So it depends on who you are and what you're doing with it. I'm going to keep mine on because we could be doing anything with ours, and ours is predominantly a tow car. So I'd like to keep it there just for keepsakes, really, and for built-in reliability. So now I'm going to take it out and get it back out, and we're going to obviously work on other projects. But thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Think about liking and subscribing, and do drop us a comment down below if you've got any questions about the job or anything else that may be of interest for you. But most of all, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, take care, bye now.